Good evening. My name's Derek,
And I'm Peter.
and tonight we'll be taking a journey into some of our childhood favourite films.
Ones that have essentially scared the crap out of us over the years, or scarred us for life, or just
But the twist is
mm,
one of us is our favourite film of all time, and the other hasn't seen it at all, and is just revisiting it in our mid to late 30s.
but you've just watched it, right?
Just watched it.
Just watched it. So it's
It's absolutely fresh in my mind, and I'm actually a fan of it, and I wish I had seen it as a kid. I could have
yeah.
been scarred, just like you.
Yeah. I actually don't know when I started to watch it. I don't know when I actually did watch it. I remember that there was a videotape of it at home,
So,
and
for those who don't know, we're talking about the film Alien.
oh yeah, that's the one. Alien.
It's a 1979 film, I believe.
Yeah, basically sideburns.
It's all about the haircuts, the bad haircuts.
Sideburns, grit, and
Yeah, that's true. Bad facial hair. But you would have been. It's not exactly a kids' movie, I would say.
no, I don't actually know how old I was when I watched it. I just know that I watched it a long time ago when I was young,
My
and I do
first
have a history.
experience with it was actually when we were 13, and I actually went over to your school and you were projecting it onto the school projector, which was pretty cool tech at the time because we just had like little crappy TVs,
Yeah,
tube TVs. And so it was kind of cool seeing it on the big screen. We never finished it though. I thought we had watched it in total, but I don't remember past first quarter.
yeah. The first quarter of it is actually really it is one tone to it that changes later on in the film. Like it's
Yeah.
that mystery. But when
So
I
it's definitely 13. You would have seen it before then.
must have been
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I thought it. I always assumed that if I watched it when I was older, I must have been somewhere 15 or older because of complete lack of maturity. Um, well, from that point onward, but at least I remembered being immature when I was 15.
Yeah. Is there list some of the reasons why this is one of your favorites, I guess?
Well, I guess give a bit of a background for me was that my parents had lots of videotapes and would borrow videotapes from my uncle and stuff, and they had borrowed Alien and basically borrowed in inverted commas it became because like I think they forgot that they had taken it and that
Oh,
so
maybe.
forgot. So it was just sitting on the shelf, but it actually had the images of it. It wasn't
On
like
the cover.
it wasn't a recorded tape. It was the actual tape of the movie, and it had like this egg and green and this background, mysterious background. And I
Oh,
remember
wow.
when just looking at the cover, thinking this is too much for me. I
Yeah,
can't watch it.
really.
I can't watch this. It's too scary. It's too scary
And
for me.
back then, well, it is Australia, so they had to have classifications. I wonder, do you remember what
Well,
classification,
I mean, but it would have been mature, or would have been well beyond what I was allowed to
15
watch.
plus, and you would
Yeah,
have
it was
been
just like so
pre-veteran.
far ahead of anything that I could possibly watch.
Wow.
And yeah, and
You watched it anyway.
I don't know when I watched it, but I know I was young, and I know I was probably scarred for quite a long time from that point forward.
Was it something you did with your parents, or was it
I don't
just
know.
by?
I don't actually. I remember a lot of the feelings I had about watching it. I think I
Yeah.
must have watched it with my parents, probably
Okay.
with my dad, and my mum probably would have killed him if she found out, I'd imagine. But I do remember just there was a real feel about it, and it still has that feel, that realistic feel. Like movies in those days, the 70s and 80s, particularly science fiction, it was all about spandex. That was everything had to, if it was science fiction, you had really bad models firing laser beams, you had cleavage, that was an important factor, and just
Well,
all
it's
of
funny you say that because My experience of sci-fi films is pretty limited, to be honest. I've
Yeah.
only seen the classics. I didn't really get into the Star Trek stuff, I guess is what you're referring to.
No, actually, I'm thinking more of things like The Last Starfighter, and I think there's like Battle Beyond the Stars or something. They're these science fiction films that for a
Last
young
Starfighter I
boy,
watched and I loved when I was a boy.
yeah,
We had that on, that was one of our VHSs.
that's probably another one that we should do because it has a few moments in it that scared the living crap out of me. There's a moment where,
Really?
yeah, there's a bit where the mum comes in to say something to her son and he's in
Alex.
bed and it's not him and he's underneath the covers and then it shows his face after she's closed the door and it's like melted or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it just freaked the living crap out of me.
Yeah, wow. I actually have recently watched that one. I revisited that one already.
Oh, really?
So that's ready to go.
I think. Oh, okay. Well, I think that means that I need to revisit it as
Mm.
well because yeah, I don't remember that much. But Alien I've watched so many times, I don't even need to watch it recently. Though I have watched it. We had Alien Covenant come out, and Prometheus, and all of those. So I have watched it somewhat more recently.
You
Um,
have watched Alien recently, did you say?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because of the movie Alien Covenant that came out.
You watched it again.
Yeah,
And
but
how did it hold up?
oh, it's the same. It's a movie now where I could fall asleep watching it, and it'd be
Yeah.
like a comfort movie.
Yeah.
It's just like it's late at night. I don't really feel like watching anything. Let's get Alien out. But
Yeah.
it actually has it's actually got greater meaning for me this movie because later in life it was how I got my wife into horror films.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was the introductory soft intro because in comparison to some stuff that's out nowadays, with all the gore and things, it was
Mm,
fairly light. But it's also fairly. There are moments in the movie that hold up, especially the ship. So
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of my background to it. Is just firstly seeing the cassette and knowing that I'll never watch this film because it's just too scary just
Yeah.
by looking at the cassette, and then seeing the film and just being just wowed by it. Mainly because when you have horror these days, it's all about showing a lot of stuff and answering a lot of questions, and then just people exploding or being killed and stuff. But Alien had this long build up and this mysterious vessel, and you never knew anything more about it except that it was alien and really alien, like the work of H.R. Geiger, which is just phenomenal. How
Yeah.
they you don't see anything like haven't seen anything like it since, even though there's been influences. There's something about his work that is unique even when it's copied. Um,
Well, the copy that I can think that's come straight to mind is the Independence Day Resurgence, where they have the mother alien in that.
oh
That's
right.
very similar
Oh
to the
really?
sort of style. Yeah, but they did. I didn't mind that, but that's another story.
It's that's a story for another 30 years when we look back. I remember when we saw Resurgence.
But I have to say, my experience with it is coming from a mature sort of standpoint. So
Yeah.
when I started watching it, I was immediately taken with, because this was 1979 and Space Odyssey was 1968 or something, 10 years before. So you can definitely see the influences from that,
Hmm.
where it's just got this sparse space life and, there's absolutely nothing nothing
Yeah.
like modern about this ship. It's been through hell, and the people that come out are all grimy and gritty. Space has this really
They've
sort of,
managed to transport rednecks across the galaxy.
yeah, the characters too, but also just the visuals of lived in feeling of desperation and stench. You could sort of smell it watching
Yeah.
it. And it opens
Sweat.
with them waking up out of hyperspace.
What's that actor's name? He's passed away. John Hurt.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he passed away this year.
Oh, that's terrible.
I think it was this year.
Oh, there was another one from Aliens who passed away, Bill Paxton.
Yeah, that's right. A bit too soon.
Yeah, John Hurt.
Yeah.
2017, yeah, he's gone. Okay. January 25th. Rest in peace.
Yeah. He's probably second to Christopher Lee.
Wow.
No one can beat Christopher Lee, like being in 200 movies or something like that.
But it was an interesting technique because I really respect Ridley Scott's filmmaking, and to have them sleeping and waking up, it's very humanizing. Immediately on board with the characters, and you've got this sense of care for them immediately just from seeing them waking up and being so vulnerable. And you can tell that it's a story about humans foremost.
I think, and also the way that they get up is very human. It's not you do have a lot of introductions to people as very artificial feeling in movies, where it's very contrived, but you don't even really get to know them even in that first scene, but they are very human in that first scene. As you say, them waking up is very...
And because the title of the film's an Alien, you know what's to come, but you don't even see that for like half the film, more than half the film. It's all just building up. I would call it like a psychological thriller more than I would say. So that was a nice intro. And I also realized coming into this was right off the back of Star Wars, which was 1975, I believe.
Yeah.
So it had, I don't know, like it must have been the movie studios telling them that they needed to put out more sci-fi because it was such a hit. And so there was that sort of vibe to it. There was these shots of, miniatures hurtling through space.
Yeah.
Planets.
Well, that was it. I actually loved the planet in the beginning. Where that Jupiter-like main planet.
So that was the sense I got from it. I got that Star Wars, but the scale and like they were tapping into that almost. But as soon as it gets past the first 15 minutes, it just turns into its own sort of creature. Very, very human story drama. I guess you can go on for hours about the characters. They've each got their own.
I think what they actually did was there was a lot of ad-libbing going on, is my understanding. Just the general chit-chat that they had between each other was that they kind of worked on that and developed it themselves. It wasn't necessarily all script-based. And I think that kind of comes out when you've got really good actors.
But also the direction as well, I guess, to allow for that.
It's just, it's interesting though that you look at Ridley Scott in that, what happened in that film, and then you look at the stupidity of the subsequent characters, which you haven't seen Prometheus yet, I don't think. You'll just be amazed that humans made it into space.
Okay.
With
the other thing that struck me was that just like how old this film is. It's 79, and Ian Holm is looking so young and fresh in it, where he is now, Bilbo Baggins. He's hairy and grey, and he's seen a lot, but he's really fresh and bright, and there's a very British sense to this film, which I also liked. It's not American at all, I don't think. Sort of.
I think it would have had to be a lot quicker if it was American. I don't think they would have had the patience to not have anyone talking for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And in fact, the plot itself doesn't seem to be being bombarded in your face. There's not a lot of, not literal, but there's not a lot of talking to the camera saying, between two people very clearly talking to each other, explaining the plot. It's sort of organically is expanding from a lot of people talking to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. The dialogue's messy. The outfits are stained. You know, they're sitting around a table and you can just see the food and it doesn't look appealing at all. They're drinking coffee that tastes like you can taste the oil in it, the machine oil.
Yeah, that's a pure American coffee right there. That's a top
But
roast.
then suddenly they get the call to action, which is this distress beacon
Yeah.
from Mother, which is all very mysterious. The ship being called Mother. Yeah, there's all of these sort of, I don't know how it just, when it's in the background, these, you know, calling a ship Mother and speaking to her as Mother, that's psychological, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder where that idea actually came from. I mean,
Was this based on a book? I don't even know any
sure.
background about it.
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I know that there are lots of different scripts. Originally, I believe instead of an alien ship, it was actually an alien pyramid or something, which managed to find its way into Alien versus Predator.
It's still fictional though, or is this like a Mars, like Alien?
Sorry. No.
When you say the pyramid,
Yeah. No,
Was
like on a planet out in the middle of nowhere type thing. Except you know how they've discovered the alien on this alien ship.
oh, gotcha. Okay,
It's on
but,
an alien
okay.
pyramid
Oh,
or something.
okay.
And there was like hieroglyphics and stuff. That's my understanding of how it was. In fact, it sounds very much like what ended up in being in Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But it seems almost like they also translated some of that idea into Prometheus, but I won't go into that much more than that.
But
Because that's your next one.
so they get this call to action, and they land on this alien planet, and yeah, they see the alien ship, which looks amazing. I remember that from when I was 13 with you.
Yeah, there's
Just seeing
there's
that for the
something
first time.
truly, it is truly alien.
I actually based some artwork that I painted in grade 12 on that ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just had an impact just seeing it. Something, just the H.R. Geiger.
Yeah, but it's not even, you're not even sure it's a ship. Like when I just remembering it when I was young is for the longest time just seeing it and not knowing what it is, whether it's something that's biological, whether it's based on the planet, whether it's grown on the planet or whether it's a ship that's crashed. It was just truly just very mysterious feel to it.
And it's all reflected through the eyes of the crew. They've got these suits which are really cumbersome, but they've lit it from outside. The lights are just shining on top, so you see the reflection of the suit. You can see the shadowy sort of, their faces all just covered in shadow and all just frightened and mystified. I was really impressed with that when they come in.
What was the name of the lady? Not Ripley.
Lambert, I think.
Oh,
Was the
I
other
found
one.
her so annoying though. I don't know what it was about her, but she just was. I just found her really annoying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have that much of a strong feeling for the character.
I think because she spends a lot of time in the movie complaining or crying,
Oh,
which is probably a bit heartless on my part, but
so all this time, Sigourney Weaver is still back in the ship. She hasn't seen it.
and
So
she does give off that very hardened type of attitude. You can almost tell straight away that her and Lambert don't get along.
but I also read that this was in the director's cut. The fact that she was going to leave him out in the cold because of the quarantine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because that's really, it actually gives it a sense of realism that
Yeah.
someone actually doing the smart thing. No, don't. You can't come in. What? He's got something on his face.
And then it was Ian Holmes' character.
Brett lets them in, of course.
The other thing I was really impressed with, I guess we got to skip forward a bit because we can't go through the whole thing. The sound design of the alien scenes where you first encounter them in, I think it was John Hurt's character,
Yeah.
where he's walking through the chains and there's water falling.
Oh no, that wasn't John Hurt. That was one of the rednecks.
Oh, he was the redneck, yes.
Yeah.
But it was just like you could hear these clinking chains, and I listened with headphones, so I could hear sort of panning from right to left and the dripping and just this amazing sound design. So intense.
It's
A lot of
interesting.
it was
when he does get killed, the you don't hear the full sound of him screaming. Like he screams for a bit, and then it just cuts off,
Yeah,
and it
I
goes
think I remember that too. Yeah,
straight to them all sitting around the
I
table.
think it cuts to the cat actually,
Oh, yes.
because he's searching for a cat, and he thinks there's nothing alone. He thinks the noise is just the cat. But
Yeah, Jonesy.
aliens there. Jonesy, that's right. And they're all really horrible to the cat.
I love the scenes where you see Ripley trying to escape, and all you can think about is how much that cat is getting smashed around in that place.
Yeah.
Then it gets out, and it's just like fairly docile.
There was a scene where the alien, sorry, is looking at the cat, and I thought it may have laid an egg in the cat or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering why that scene.
Maybe two predators love at first sight.
Yeah, the sound design and I guess how human the story was. Those were what impressed me.
I think the beginning of the film really is. Everyone talks about the alien design, how amazing the alien is, and how iconic it is, and there are scenes from that. But really, a lot of what happens before you even see the alien makes the film.
Yeah.
The space jockey. That's actually the term that they give to the dead alien in the chair in that room.
Yeah, that actually threw me a bit. I felt that was a bit forced.
A bit what, sorry?
Like it was forced. It was created from some awesome character design, from the art production stages, made it in. But it was a bit too much, like, to see that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, it
I
didn't really fit with the vibe of the rest of the film, I thought.
How so?
It was seeing everything straight up rather than the slow reveal.
But I think the slow reveal occurs about the alien, not about.
But once you've seen that, you can't forget that.
That
space jockey, he's got skeleton hands, he's built into the chair.
I think that's fantastic what they did with that. I just like it because you don't know anything about it, and you never know anything about it. There's no explanation. It
seemed extraneous, though. It didn't add to the story.
Well, you'll find out later that it.
I'm sure there is in the many sequels.
Yeah, given its own life. Well, Prometheus is where you actually get to discover more about that.
Okay.
But I'm surprised that you feel that way because I think that's one of the most iconic things about it for me. People talk about the.
I mean, what did it add to the story?
Well, it gave it a bit of it did foreshadow because they talked about the thing erupting out of its chest.
Okay.
Something explode out of the chest of the thing, and you also they were looking for the source of the distress signal. So really,
yeah, true.
I think a lot of investigations of distress signal you end up finding, but you have to find something.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And it also shows there's a real difference between the alien and what they find in the chair as well.
It rubbed off on me that it looked really cool, and that's why they wanted it in there.
Oh, right, I see.
It wasn't subtle in any way. Yeah, it's too cool not to have in it,
Yeah.
Whereas they could have had a normal skeleton and a normal body.
Oh man, I just think it's the best. I love the production and the design of everything in this film. Just the aliens, just the ship, the alien, the pilot, the space jockey, the aliens, the egg cave. I really find it difficult to think of something that has topped it or has even come close to the feelings that you get just looking at that ship and the mystery about it. But that's probably
the other point of suspense is the robot Ian Holm character. You don't know he's a robot.
No.
And his intentions are very sort of clouded in mystery for pretty much the whole film until right to the end. And that was another suspense point for me.
It also explains some of his behaviours as well.
I can totally hear the clicking.
The clicking.
On the side.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm playing with a Transformer toy from
Oh,
the
okay.
same era.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I guess it's part of it then.
Yeah, no, there's no. I can hear your clicking.
Oh, I'm clicking on the film. I'm clicking through.
Ah,
Sorry.
right. I can't actually do that because I've got a stupid overlay on my screen that I can't. Well, I probably.
I'm just looking for any
Yes.
other last bits that I
Sorry.
comment on. I'm just looking for any last bits that I feel I can comment on the film.
Well, I guess some of the key things that people talk about in this film is the chest burster scene.
Also, actually, at the end, I thought probably unnecessary how naked Sigourney Weaver's character was. I'm not complaining, but very unnecessary.
Yeah,
Don't you agree?
I do actually.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah. But that was the era. It was 79.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean,
But
even
I did notice, like, I've seen Aliens now, the next one, and they still keep up with that. Even Aliens 3, a little bit of that. I guess it's part of the franchise now.
yeah, yeah, I must admit I've never found her the most attractive.
Oh, really?
No, but I think she's fantastic. But
Incredible actor.
yeah,
Really centered performance. Like, she won't lead too much of other characters like they're giving. She'll be her character, which is really nice.
she's a very strong character. She does have her own opinion,
I
and
guess I'm spoiling the next episode, but in Aliens, the characters are like her supporting characters, 200%, 1000% more like eccentric than
yeah,
Alien. They're over the top. It's James Cameron. It's pure American film. Um, so, but she manages to keep her own, to hold her character true to what it was.
yeah,
That's
that's
a
true.
reflection on her as an actor.
It's more centered on her. Like the alien does not center on Ripley. You don't know who is going to be the survivor. I mean, we all know who it is now, but at the time, I'd imagine you would have thought that Tom Skerritt, Dallas, would be the last man standing.
Oh, well, I've known the history of it,
Yeah,
despite not having. Pretty hard not to, I guess, these
yeah,
days.
yeah. And I can't remember what. Yeah, that's a good scene of him getting killed as well. He doesn't actually die at that point, where he's in the vents, the
Yeah.
closing of the vents.
I
It's a great
guess
scene.
final thought.
Don't go back for a cat.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Ridley Scott because a lot of his movies have gone downhill since then.
One other thing, actually, that I really enjoyed, those vintage keyboards.
What?
They're making a comeback.
Oh yeah, the sound of him typing.
Yeah,
What's the story, mother? And that.
pure like mech keyboards, and they're making a comeback now. So
Yeah,
if you're into keyboards, watch this.
yeah.
Amazing keycaps.
If you want the satisfaction of hearing a keyboard tapped, then there's nothing better than this. Just and the sound design of this is really great. Even though they wouldn't have designed the keyboards to sound so beautiful, but they do.
But yeah, absolutely glad that I watched this film. I have been putting it off for a long time up until Alien, the new one. What's it called?
Alien Covenant.
Covenant. Yeah, and divided book.
Can you say why you haven't watched it?
I may be overloaded with alien stuff from you, natural selection, and all of this
Oh,
stuff.
right. But even before then, you hadn't seen it, did you?
Yeah, no, like
I know you're
my
not a horror
parents.
person.
Yeah, my parents sort of didn't give me a lot of violent stuff, but in contrast to that, they let me watch It, which has scarred me.
Oh,
Yeah.
it floats.
Oh my gosh.
Is it? Everything floats down here, or something like that.
Gosh. Oh gosh.
Tim
I don't
Curry,
know. Yeah.
scariest man alive. Well, if he's still alive.
Okay, this has been good, man.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, dude. Yeah,
Next time we'll talk about aliens, I guess.
I guess so. Unless you, but maybe not. Maybe it's my turn
Okay,
to watch a film of that you recommend,
I'm
and
down for
then we
that.
can go back to aliens.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess
It's been enlightening.
catchphrase for the finale is may all your moments fucking awesome.
You put too much pressure on yourself there, man. Catchphrase? I'm not even going to comment.
That's as soon as you say, "Oh, I'm going to come up with a catchphrase," you basically removed the possibility. All right. Insert catchphrase here.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.